Another day and more significant PlayStation 5 updates. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the dev kit being leaked. An image confirms previous patent design, and it looks a little bit ridiculous, but bear in mind that this is a dev kit. This isn't how the final product is going to look like. But we'll talk all about that. Also, there are rumors running around about the PlayStation 5's price point, and apparently a retailer leaking the price, although it might not be completely accurate. However, this is where I ultimately expect the price to come around. So I'll talk about that, and also we have some updates on PlayStation Now and how that'll be implemented into PlayStation 5 and whether or not that'll be a thing. Spoiler, it is going to be a big thing. They wouldn't have just changed the price point and started promoting it really heavily if it wasn't going to be a thing. And honestly, that promotion, that heavy promotion that they're doing for it now, makes me think that it's going to be a big thing on the PS5. We'll talk that at the end of this video. First up, the PlayStation 5 dev kit leaked image confirms the previous patent design. Thanks to a leak shared by YouTube channel Zone of Tech, we've got the first unofficial look at the PlayStation 5 developer kit, and of course this is what's being sent out to game studios around the world so they can get started working on their games and they can implement their games for the PlayStation 5, get them working on there, have them running as best as possible, and getting them ready for a late 2020 launch, because while late 2020 for all of us seems like that a long time away from a game development standpoint, having just a little over a year or a year exactly at this point isn't a long time to get your games ready. I'm not going to necessarily say it's crunch time, but this is around the time where you really start dialing down and figuring out what's going on. So that's why all of these dev kits are being sent out. The picture itself was apparently taken on Thursday, October 10th by the leaker. Most importantly, it confirms the previous patent design leak originally unearthed by Dutch website Let's Go Digital. I'll leave a link in the description box down below where you can check out a lot more for yourself. And the patent design and the leaked image matches pretty much one-to-one. It looks very, very accurate and identical, and the leaked picture also provides us with some interesting information. There seem to be 6 USB ports, while buttons include on and standby, reset, eject, system, and network all are present. Of course, the final PlayStation 5 will probably be a little bit different, and it's not going to have an eject button or a system button or whatever the case may be. Maybe it'll have an eject button, but probably won't spell out eject. Probably will be just a little bit more sleekly designed. The V-shaped cooling design isn't something we see every day, and I don't know if this is going to be something that's ultimately in the final product. With a dev kit, you're really just trying to give them an optimal box where they can develop on it and there aren't going to be any hampering issues. Like if they were getting games running on it and there were like some cooling issues or whatever the case may be, at this point they're probably still working out the kinks of the final box and figuring out what's going with that. So for the developers, they're just giving something that from a hardware standpoint is as optimal as can be, but is reflective of the final unit. So bear that in mind. I just think it's something rather interesting to look at, and it's pretty exciting to know that this is the box that all of the developers are developing games on as we speak. Whether it be guys over at Ubisoft, EA, CD Projekt Red probably has their hands on this box. A lot of your favorite developers and publishers are developing major titles optimized for this box, so that's kind of cool to think about. Okay, that's something that isn't that relevant to the consumer. However, what is absolutely relevant to the consumer? The PlayStation 5 price point. This is something that we can debate on going back and forth. I feel like the general wisdom and the general consensus for the majority of you guys is that it has to be $400. I see that $400 price point thrown around a lot. That's for a wide variety of reasons. You look at the PlayStation 4 and you see how that performed commercially. Well, $400 is probably a big reason why it did so well. I don't think it's the only reason, but hey, that cheaper price point versus the PlayStation 3's $599 US that has gone down in infamy, yeah, I think the $400 price point helped a lot. However, I don't think that's the only thing, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. The PlayStation 5's price has reportedly been leaked, and this time, the leak comes courtesy of a European retailer, or more specifically a retailer out of Slovakia. According to the retailer Pro Gaming Shop, the PlayStation 5 will cost 500 euros, which translates roughly to $558 US. Now, that would put the PlayStation 5 right around the $500 or $550 price point. I highly doubt it would be $550. That's just a very strange price point, and I think for promotional sake, you'll want to get it to a price point that is easily marketable, whether it be $499.99. The difference between marketing a console at $499.99 and $549.99, that is a world of difference. I know you guys aren't going to necessarily see that, but maybe a lot of you guys will. Just think about going to the store and seeing something listed as $499.99 and being listed as $549.99. It's actually a world of difference, and Sony would do everything in their power to get it down to $499.99. Now, is that a little bit too expensive? The idea of it being essentially $500? I don't necessarily think it is, and here's where I'm coming from. Yes, I know the PlayStation 4 did incredibly incredibly well at $400, and that's great. However, if you look at the hardware that they're packing into the PlayStation 5, be it the SSD, be it the high-end GPU, it's gonna do ray tracing, all this stuff, $500 seems like the logical price point, especially if they're only going with one model. I feel like at the end of the day, they might do something similar to what they did with the PlayStation 4, and we're not gonna get two models right out of the gate. We'll get one model, and then 2 to 3 years into the generation, we'll get a mid-generation refresh where they'll release the PlayStation 5 Pro. I would much rather have both consoles released at the same time, so you're offering the consumer options right out of the gate, and they only have to buy one console. But hey, I've been beating that horse dead for months now, and I don't know if it's gonna happen. I just think from a consumer standpoint, that is absolutely what we should want, because that would open up the opportunity for there to be a weaker console, but priced at $400, $450, $500, and then if you want a top-tier, high-end performing console, you can price that at $600 or $700, and yes, that $600 or $700 seems scary, but it's just a high-end option. You have that cheaper option if you want to go that route. Can you make the argument that that'll divide the user base? I don't know. I don't necessarily know from a marketing standpoint how difficult it would be to roll out two different consoles, but in the case of doing a PS5 and a PS5 Pro, all you would do is put the promotional month sold behind the regular PS5, and then the PS5 Pro just comes out, and it's kind of this other item that if you are a hardcore gamer, you already know about the PlayStation 5, you already know all the ins and outs about the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro if it was a thing, so you're gonna know about it anyway, so you're gonna buy it. The regular consumer that does want the cheaper option, you promote the console towards them, and you put the marketing push behind that console, and then that'll work out. I think that would be the best case scenario for the consumer and from a marketing standpoint, but nonetheless, the idea of it just being one console and being released at $500, I think that might be the most logical route, and I do think that's ultimately what's going to happen. It's either going to be $400 or $500. I think Sony was burned really hard with the release of the PlayStation 3 at $599 US, and I have to add the US dollars just for the meme's sake, but I think they got burned really hard by that $600 price point, and they're just going to stray away from a $600 lone console for a very, very long time. If ever they do go back to it, I don't think it's going to be anytime in the near future, just because not a lot of people are going to drop $600 on a console. If it's an option for, you know, the hardcore gamer and a higher end console, fine, that's great, but for the majority of consumers, I just think $600 is a really hard sell. It's very arguable that $500 is too much. Let me know in the comment section, would you be okay with PS5 costing $500? Would you still pick it up, or would that be the deal breaker and you would wait on a discount or whatever? To me, just based on the hardware we've been told is going to be in the PS5, a $400 price point just seems so ridiculous to me. If you're talking about the console is going to have a 1TB solid state drive, which I think is logical, if you're throwing in a solid state drive, it should be a terabyte. If you're telling me it's going to have all this hardware that's going to push ray tracing and all this stuff, $400 for a box like that, yeah, that would be amazing, but that just seems too cheap to me. Maybe they'll sell it up front at a loss, and they'll make it on the back end through PlayStation Plus subscriptions, game sales, whatever the case may be. That wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, but nonetheless, definitely interested to hear your guys' thoughts from a price point standpoint, because that's probably the most debatable topic we can get into when talking about next generation, the PlayStation 5, is the price point. Some people are going to say they want it to be $400. Anything more than $400 would be crazy. Some people are in my boat in saying that there should be a base model and a pro model just so consumers have that option, and then there's going to be others that are okay with a $500 or $600 price point right out of the gate if the hardware suffices and they just want that model available for everyone. Definitely interested to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. And lastly, for those of you questioning PlayStation Now and whether Sony would still be invested into it come the PlayStation 5, yes, they will absolutely be invested into it. Sony revealed that the streaming service PlayStation Now will also be available on PS5. The info comes through an interview with Sony Interactive Entertainment Network Division's Yasuhiro Osaki. The interview is included in this week's Famitsu magazine. Osaki also spoke on upcoming changes regarding PS Now. Basically, more popular games will be added to PS Now every month, but the number of time-limited editions will also increase. So if you guys are unaware, they're adding some major games as time-limited editions. God of War is being added, but it's only going to be added for 90 days, which I think is kind of lame, but if that opens the door for them to add more marquee titles, like if we can get newly released games as time-limited entries into PlayStation Now, that would be absolutely awesome. At this point, PlayStation Now lets gamers enjoy over 700 games through streaming, and then some of them are downloadable directly to the PlayStation 4. Some titles are permanent while some are time limited. The service currently includes PS2, PS3, and PS4 games. I think the best route would be if the PlayStation 5 had full backwards compatibility and you could offer direct downloads on the PS3 and PS2, and you could offer direct downloads on the PS3 games, maybe add some PS1 games. That would be ridiculous, and we've been hearing that idea of PlayStation 5 being for not only the future but also the past. That would go really hand in hand with PlayStation now offering all games from all PlayStation generations. But again, just speculation on my part. The best part is PlayStation Now is just $10 a month, $60 for a year subscription. It's a lot more palatable of a price point and a lot more accessible to a lot more people, given that it's not $20 a month anymore, $100 a year. That just was not acceptable, especially given all the quality Game Pass gave you. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, the PlayStation 5 dev kit has been leaked, and it confirms that the patent that we saw earlier is very comparable to the actual dev kit being sent out. $500 for the PlayStation 5. What would you guys make of that? Take that as a rumor for now, but it may have been leaked, and the streaming service in PlayStation Now will still be a prominent component to the PlayStation 5. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.